Hello, I'm ShieldWall100 and welcome back to the streets of Gotham for another Batman Miniatures Game 3rd Edition Battle Report. Today's conflict will be focusing on the Joker and the Penguin, two of the more famous of the Rogues Gallery, and a game which I've been kind of putting off a little bit, to be perfectly honest, because of the daunting sizes of the crews involved and its necessary possible impact on the runtime of the game, etc. But I really wanted to do this because I like the Joker crew and I know how it works, and also I want to get another game with Penguin in, so you know, it just seemed to work. Okay, it should be a good laugh. It's been a while. I've got a new microphone battery now, so shouldn't have any audio problems this time. Good stuff. Just as a forewarning, when it comes to my previous battle reports, I've always been trying to be a bit more expansive on the objective cards and how they work and reading them out, but now I've done so many game reports for the cards which we've seen many times before in other game reports. I'm just going to kind of just mention that I'm playing with them and try and gloss over it. I'm going to hope that you guys know how the rules for these cards work by now. You know, obviously, for the Penguin cards I've only covered them a little bit, but so might be a bit more expansive on them. But for the Joker ones, we've seen those loads of times, and I'll still show them on camera, so if anyone wants to pause it and read them, then they'll be there. But yeah, so hopefully the overall runtime will be clicking along at a much better pace anyway, so be more interesting that way and less invasive of your time. Okay, well, let's get on with it, and I'm going to show you who and what is in each of the crews. So here we are with the Penguin crew. As you can see, Oswald himself is riding his famous duck there. I'm trying out the upgrade, gives him a bit more longevity in the game. Gives him armor, and also interacts with the various penguins you can summon, of which I've got one for fun. I don't usually go penguin heavy in the Penguin crew, literal penguin heavy. We've got one with a minigun there to make up the points. It's a bit fiddly and not. I don't think it's conducive to good battle reporting to have loads of little penguins running around. Plus, I don't like hurting animals, but hey. This Penguin crew is mostly designed to use the new models. As you can see, we've got, let's zoom in. Got Mr. Toxic here, the free agent, if it will zoom please, thank you. Light reflection on his helmet, gloss varnish. Oops. Mr. Combustible next to him because I love that model. Hypnotic above for funsies, and the Imperceptible Man, you can see there. The two new Penguin thugs. Yep. There you go. So finally got a guy with a motorcycle in the collection. Nice. And just to fill it out, the numbers, you got two of Penguin's crew just here. The chap with the laser sight and the guy with the assault rifle. If it would please just zoom in a little bit, please. Focus. No, we're not focusing today. I'm bad at this. What can I say? Anyway, there's a bit of purchased equipment throughout. There's across the crew members, there's a couple of radios and a backpack in there, and the big guy at the back, the big biker, he's got mutation serum purchased from the Iceberg Lounge itself. So that gives him tough skin and desensitized, so he's going to be a lot tougher to take down, especially with that shield he's got as well, I'm hoping, as the Joker has some pretty damaging stuff. Right, I'm looking forward to seeing this crew in action. I'm pretty much using the deck as unchanged. I'm not swapping any cards out this time because I'm just trying to get a good feel for how it works. That's the price you pay for not being totally familiar with it, I guess. As times go on, I might well take to swapping out specific cards and whatnot. But yes, it's a 10 model crew, including the Penguin, which doesn't really count, as we'll see as the game goes on. Yeah, we'll see how this works out. Okay, right, on to the Joker, and we'll see what he's got. Okay, lots of familiar faces in the Joker crew here, and some not so familiar ones. Okay, well, we're going with the Joker from the Back to Gotham box set because I like him, and I think he's familiar to lots of people who've seen my battle reports and also are able to actually play the game these days, so I think it's important to get use out of him while I can, really. Otherwise, you can see another new model here in an attempt to use the new ones. I've got, what's her face? Oh god, it totally escapes me. Punchline! Punchline. At the moment, the Harley Quinn alternative. I've now read her up in the comics, and she's pretty cool. Like her a lot. And yeah, looking forward to seeing how she works on the tabletop as well. Yes, it's going to be good. Hopefully, lots of synergy with the scoring of the deck as well, which can be a bit like contrary to how Harley Quinn works. But yeah, we'll see. As you can see right next to her, there's KG Beast, a beast of, well, a big old beta of a model there for the free agent slot. I think I haven't used him yet, and I had quite a lot of spare room in this Joker crew deck list. So yeah, I also didn't want to have another crew which was gigantic in terms of the number of models. So I had to use up a lot of points. And KG Beast, I think, can really pull his weight for his points cost. He's dangerous at range and also in close combat. Yeah, and just generally nasty. He can also quite well defensively as well. He's defense 5, so he's not just he's not like a big old defense 3 sponge, to just take bullets. Right, into henchmen, we've got Hobo Clown there up there. He's literally there because I had 14 points left over at the end or so, and he fitted. He's just as good at putting down suspects though as anyone else. And yes, we've got Ace of Spades, one of my favourite henchmen for reasons. Focus please. Why are you not focusing, please? Well, never mind. Ace of Spades is in there with his bag on his head because he likes to gas people. Yep, that's how it works. I just like his poison, really, the poison effect he can do. And yep, Thug 3 is this guy's name. He has a chainsaw and he does pretty well. Oh, I'm having lousy camera work today. I'm sorry, everybody. Yep, he's a good close combat thug. Interfaces well with what the Joker can do with his kill them rule. So, yeah. And as of course, you can see the connoisseur of chaos himself, Condiment King. Yeah, one of the rando henchmen you can take. If my camera will just do something, please. Anyone? No? Yes, please. No, I'm going to zoom back out again. There you go. Right. Yeah, Condiment King. He is one of the D-list henchmen you can take, and I quite like him. I haven't used him for a long time, and he does fit in quite well with the Joker crew, so we'll see how he gets on. Again, more poison in the crew. It's always useful. Yeah, it's the smallest force at 7 models. What for Joker? It's sort of average size overall, I guess. But yeah, I'll see how it works out against the Penguin. I think this crew can really do damage, so it might be able to even the numbers in terms of model count quite quickly anyway. And yeah, again, I am not changing the objective deck at all. I quite like the Joker deck anyway, so there you go. We're going to move now to deployment and see how things all set out. Okay, the board is set up and the well, everything's ready to go really. Let's have a look and just zoom out a bit and pan around a bit. There you go. Whee! Cool. And as you can see, it's corner-to-corner deployment zone. This one in particular was the one chosen to use. Well, dealt. So one friendly model can be deployed up to 4 inches outside these corner deployment zones. So there we are. We've got Penguin up here, as you can, well, as you probably surmised, with nice standard your leader in the middle with your henchmen clustered around. The imperceptible man was given a little bit boost forward, since his main reason to be here is to, well, disrupt without getting hurt himself. So he's got a radio, so he can be sent off on his own quite, what's the word? Safely, we hope, for his sake. And on the Joker's side down here, we've got Joker down, well, at the bottom here really. His deployment zone was rather more constrained by this great big construction site, but all his henchmen are clustered around him for purposes of inspiration, as well as you can see Condiment King in there. Yep, and the and what's the name? Punchline back here. Her speed will easily allow her to, well, get coverage up the board quite quickly anyway. And KG Beast has moved forward because put your biggest hitting model further forward as possible, get the most use out of him as they can. Okay, right, I do believe that concludes deployment. All the cards are now drawn for both sides. Street furniture's put out, everything's ready to go. So let's get on with turn number 1 and see what happens. Turn 1 well underway now, and I've just completed the take the lead and raise the plan phases. Okay, well, Penguin got the initiative for the first turn and a straight die roll, 3-2 in his favour, so there you go. No cards played in the first phase, but in the second phase there certainly were, and let's go through them now. On the Joker's side, Psychopaths was played. Seen this a few times before. It's the newest card in their deck, and basically cause more casualties than the enemy puts down suspect markers, basically, for 3 points at the end of the turn. I'm not going to dwell on that one because we've seen it before. On the Penguin side, though, we got Secret Equipment Bases for 2 points, played at the beginning. Played now, scores at the end of the turn. Choose two scenery elements on a certain part of the board. They're more friendly suspects and enemy suspects within 4 inches of those scenery elements. So the two scenery elements they chose were this bus stop and this bin, both of which were fairly close to the Penguin crew. So yeah, they'll be hoping to get that scored quite quickly today. And finally, and the last card, Smuggled Goods, played by the Penguin for 3 points. Look at all that text again. Scores at the end of the turn. The event marker was placed over here. Has to be placed fairly close to the Joker's deployment zone. It's within 8 inches. The Penguin crew has to manipulate it all the way back to being closer to their deployment zone than the Joker's. If they manage to do that at any point during the course of the game, during the course of this turn, sorry, my mistake. So that's a bit of a tall order. Don't think they're going to score that one. So yeah, but it does cycle. It does actually cycle the card out of the hand, so they get to draw something else they might well score. But yeah, that's a big ask in one turn, isn't it? Wow. But yeah, if they manage to do that, it'll be a lovely 3 victory points. It's going to be a tough score any time at any point for this crew because they need to. The deployment zones are very far away in this particular game. But hey, in other games, other deployment zones are a lot easier to score actually. Anyway, never mind. So there you go. That's the way it's going to work. Just so you know, there's the wording for Smuggled Goods if you want to pause the video and have a good read of it. But yeah, there you go. And okay, it's on to who's got Audacity. Well, on the Joker side, it's nice and simple. Everyone can get Audacity as like a wild card, so except for free agents and psychics, etc. So Punchline and KG Beast have both got Audacity markers. The other two can be distributed out as the turn progresses. Lovely. On the Penguin crew side, we're going with the Imperceptible Man, Penguin himself, of course, Mr. Toxic, and Mr. Combustible at the back. Okay, the rest of them all in nice Inspire range, so they'll have stuff to do. Right, let's get on with some moving then. Okay, get this game underway properly. Well, kicking things off, Imperceptible Man went first for Penguin, and he wanted to go first because he had Audacity, and with his special action he activated Concealment, which effectively means he can't be targeted except from a base contact. So yeah, that would be very useful. You want to get that in at the turn as early as possible if you really do indeed want to avoid being creamed by someone, especially if you're quite soft and squishy like Imperceptible Man is. Anyway, he moved forwards 10 inches with his movement action as well, and then popped down a suspect marker with his manipulate action, his tactical action, should I say. That's to help with the Secret Equipment Bases card played earlier. Remember, the bus shelter is one of those objectives there. And yeah, so that's basically his turn finished. As a card played from the hand as an objective, Profitable Negotiation was played. We haven't seen this one before, I'm pretty sure. 2 points. It will score at the end of the turn. Penguin, as in me, looked at Joker, as in me's hand. So the Joker's hand was examined by the Penguin player, and they picked out a card that Joker has to score by the end of the turn, otherwise these 2 points will be scored for Penguin. And the one that they picked from Joker's hand is Seasoning the Mix, which is a 2-point. Well, it's the one where they have to kill a model which has poison. In any model that has poison, but basically what it means is Joker now has to not only poison a model but also kill that model with poison before the end of the turn, otherwise those 2 points will score for Penguin. So bit of a tricky one. Yeah, so that'd be a good laugh. It doesn't look too easy for poisoning people is quite easy. It's then killing them while they've got it, and at this range it's quite hard, but we'll see how it goes. And yeah, right, so that's the end of the Penguin's first activation. We're going to move to Joker now, see what they're up to. Joker Crew's first activation, and Hobo Clown went up. He was inspired by Joker's presence, so no audacity needed for him. He just moved up and popped down a suspect. As you can see, it's a stinky fish with it doesn't look fresh. Okay, 2 points at the end of the turn, hopefully there for Joker. Okay, right, back to Penguin. Okay, up next for Joker is the Condiment King himself. Yeah, he was inspired, being a henchman by Joker, so he moved up and used his melee action to destroy this light source here, which is what I'm going to do. He then activated his manipulate action, which he gets from being inspired, to pop down a suspect marker, and it's a pair of exploding teeth using Bite the Dust. Again, another card we've seen plenty of times with Joker, so I'm not going to dwell on it now. They'll move and explode. I need to roll the dice to see how many turns they've got to go, but I'll do that, and there'll be a little marker on them to say. Okay, right, we're going to move back to Penguin now. Okay, let's keep this going. Mr. Combustible, a model who's fun to control and to say, activated next, and he had audacity, if you recall, so he moved up and popped down a suspect marker for Penguin. He used his special action as well to say take cover to the gigantic street demons biker with the axe and the shield there, just so this melee focused guy can get a little bit more tough in melee as well. Okay, yeah, so that's his activation done. There's nothing else he can really do right now, so he's just going to hold out there for now. Okay, it's back to Joker. Punchline just took her activation, her inaugural activation, should I say. I've never used this model before, just got it, so there you are. First of all, as a resource, Seasoning the Mix was played to move 2 suspect markers. First of all, this exploding teeth marker a little bit further up the board, and also this stinky fish either a little bit further back the board to keep it out of harm's way. The next thing that happened was that Punchline decided she would use her audacity to move up to this sewer marker, and then to use the sewer marker as a manipulate action to end up over here. Okay, I think you can see where this is going. At the end of her turn, the teeth chattered into range of her and exploded, causing her 1 point of blood damage. Well, it's a cost that needed to be paid in order to score the 2 points for the exploding teeth. Unfortunately, the teeth only rolled a couple of turns worth of chattering, so wasn't much chance to really boost it into the Penguin crew that much. So there you go, unfortunately. So sacrifices had to be made, and Punchline was the only model fast enough to do it. So there you go. So 2 points for the Joker crew, and yeah, points on the board. Okay, back to Penguin. Penguin Thug 2, aka Tanner, moved up next. He didn't have audacity, but he does have inspiration from the Penguin's presence. He moved up just into this space here, give himself a better field of fire perhaps. The Penguin, as well, he's able to use Catch a Bullet, the generic resource, using his dealer trait. I think it's the dealer one. Basically, he gets we didn't have to pay any business counters because it's the resource point cost, as you can see there, 0. Places an ammo crate in contact with one of the suspects. So there it is there. In future, it'll probably be Tanner, could be anyone, can just pick up that crate in contact to replace 1 point of ammunition he's used. So pretty damn good. What happens is that Catch a Bullet card is exhausted now. Penguin would have to pay a business counter in order to flip it back over. If you recall, that's how Penguin works. Okay, yeah, so that's that. Penguin has 1 business counter because Joker scored a card earlier on in the game, so there you are as well. Okay, that's Tanner's go. Back to Joker. Joker opted to pass. He has 2, now 1. So back to Penguin. Penguin activated Thug number 1 there with the high vis jacket. He didn't have audacity, but was inspired again. So what he did was to move into base contact with the sewer marker and use it to get over here. Okay, so yeah, a bit of a flank attack there on the Joker's position, if you can see. Yeah, and don't forget, this guy's got a laser dot sight, so in future he might be able to illuminate targets for longer range Penguin models to attack. Okay, right, back to Joker. KG Beast activated next, and first of all, he was back here. He leveled his machine gun arm at the newly arrived laser sight toting Penguin Thug and opened up. One of the dice missed, which was crucial because with the cover it meant that the Penguin Thug was only knocked out as opposed to being killed. 1 more point of blood damage, and that would have been a dead goon as well. So nasty stuff, but yes, it is nonetheless first blood, so to speak, to the well, the Joker crew, I think. And yeah, that's a KO. That gives Penguin a business counter, don't forget. But also, yeah, so there you are. KG Beast moved up with his next action, and used his special action and took an effort to switch the machine gun arm to the beam gun arm as well. So yeah, he's going for the more deadly weapon there. Okay, that concludes his activation. No cards again scored. Both crews really needing to kind of mix it a little bit in order to be able to score, and they're both a little bit too far away, so this first turn might not see massive scores. Okay, Street Demons 4, big-ass biker dude with axe and stop sign shield was next to go. Again, much the same as before. He didn't have Audacity, but it was inspired by Penguin, so he was able to move to the sewer marker and teleport over next to his recently fallen buddy. And yeah, that's his activation all done, apart from to mention that Penguin spent 2 of his business counters it's actually the Underworld King trait he's using, to use valuable commodities resource for drawing 3 cards, which has enabled him to cycle his deck quite nicely, and hopefully that'll help him score a little bit more in activations to come. Okay, right, back to Joker. Joker's Ace of Spades henchman activated next. He was inspired, so he just moved up and popped down a suspect marker. Okay, for the lols really, wasn't much else, but having suspect markers can be useful. It might tie into some cards they've got in their hand for future. Okay, so yeah, that's where he is, and that's the Joker's activation done. And in a theme that is getting a little bit annoying now, Hypnotic activated for Penguin. Did exactly the same thing as Street Demons Biker, moved up to a sewer marker and popped himself through just there. Okay, and that's him pretty much done for the turn. Okay, yeah, okay, moving back to Joker. Yes, the final Penguin thug, this one with chainsaw activated. He just moved up and popped down a suspect marker, as you can see just there, with the inspiration he got from being near to his boss. Yeah, he's redeploying up towards the massive Penguin enemies. So he's trying to use that chainsaw at some point. That'd be fun. And yeah, that's basically him done now. Okay, back to Penguin. No cards being scored still. It's a tricky one this turn. Everyone's so far apart. And continuing the sewer time adventures of the Penguin crew, Mr. Toxic activated. Next, he was all the way up here. As a free agent, he had to use his Audacity. He moved up, manipulated the sewer marker, and popped his way back through here into base contact with a quite surprised punchline, no doubt. And yeah, there you go. That finishes his turn. Unfortunately, using a sewer marker precludes him from activating to attack. I mean, that's only fair, sewer markers and all. You know, teleporting into combat is a difficult one. But yeah, so that's him done, and that finishes that up. Again, no cards scored. Back to Joker, who I think we've only got the Joker himself to go, so we'll see how that works. Okay, taking the camera angle around to the other side, to another corner of the board. Joker activated for the last activation of his side for first turn. He moved up through the construction site there, just wangling things a little bit because of the size of his base, no real big deal. And he moved into base contact with the suspect marker that his chainsaw thug had just put down. He revealed it and played card. Let them do their thing. For 2 points. It's the one where he moves it 2d6 and it explodes. Okay, so he pointed it at KG Beast. Sorry, KG Beast, just business, you know that. It's all for laughs at the end of the day. And he rolled, it ended up there. The explosive template then goes off, which I can quite safely say it covers KG Beast, doing 2 points of damage to him. KG Beast is on Joker's side, I do know that. I'm not having a temporary lapse of well, concentration or anything, but it does need that to do damage to anyone in order to score the 2 points. Like I said, it's all for good laughs. And KG Beast is a big boy, he'll get over it. But does score 2 points for Joker there. Another business counter for Penguin, but 2 points is what wins games, not business counters, okay? Yeah, right, so back to Penguin now. I think Penguin is the last model to go on his side, okay? Right, well, let's see what happens. Okay, yeah, Penguin activated just now, and that's the last of the models of the turn. But just quickly, I just forgot to mention that Joker had to use a point of Audacity to do what he did last turn. He's a boss after all, so can't take can't get inspired by himself. He did also actually use his kill them rule to add 2 attack counters to Chainsaw Thug next to him. Anyway, back to Penguin. So Penguin, a nice full turn. He activated over here. First of all, he sacrificed his special action to move up this Penguin here to get him into range. He's got his Penguin Caller ability, I think that's what it's called. He then moved and used the sewer marker, as had so much of his crew have already, to pop himself here. He is a handyman, which allows him to use a second special manipulate action a turn, so he popped down a suspect marker. Okay, and now that there are at least 2 more Penguin suspects than there are Joker ones on the board. Oh, this one's supposed to be gone incidentally because it exploded, and yeah, he was able to play Goods Raid for 2 points. Friendly mortal places a suspect, you have at least 2 more suspects than your opponent in play. Well, there were 4 for Penguin, 2 for Joker, so there we are, 2 markers on the board. Okay, 2 points on the scoreboard for the Penguin there. And that concludes his activation. I believe that concludes all the models' activations for turn 1. Bit of a marathon from my point of view, but a lot of models. I expect as the 2 crews get closer and closer, this will change. Right, I'm going to move now to the recount phase, tidy things up, sort things out, and report back. Okay, see you in just a second. Recount phase now complete, and let's go over what happened then. So all the activation markers came off. Interesting enough, Penguin Thug here actually came round on Snake Eyes for his endurance roll, and he is no longer knocked out, he's just knocked down. Obviously doesn't pay to malinger near your boss, especially one as vicious as Penguin, so there you are. He's back in it for next turn, albeit very damaged. Right, for cards scored on the Joker side, Psychopath wasn't even close to scoring for 3 points because a lot of Penguin suspects came out. It doesn't look fresh, however, it does score for them because this fish is unmolested. So 2 points there for Joker. For the Penguin's part, there's a mixed bag as well. The smuggled goods over there didn't even get budged, so smuggled goods does not score for Penguin. However, secret equipment bases does, because there are more suspect markers Penguin side nearby the 2 stated series scenery pieces, sorry, and so 2 points for Penguin there. And profitable negotiation also scores for Penguin because the Joker didn't manage to score seasoning the mix at all during the course of the turn. I think I recognised that it just wasn't going to happen for them, and yeah, so didn't even come out. No one even got poisoned, let alone killed, so there you are. Right, that concludes this turn's scores. I do believe it's time to start turn number 2, where everything's getting a little bit more mixed, and this big old appearance over here should make things more interesting. Okay, back to turn 2. Yes, well, things are certainly heating up a little bit around here for turn number 2. Okay, right, so where do we start? Okay, first of all, in the first round, the first phase, Take the Lead, Let's Dance was played by Joker for 2 points. We've seen that many times before as well, so not going to dwell on it. I'll tell you at the end of the turn if it scores. We've also got, can relate to you that Penguin once again won the initiative with a 5-3 victory on the die, so the Joker's saved pass last turn did nothing for him, unfortunately. Right, moving on, we have what else we scored? Oh yes, Penguin played Territory Fight in the second phase, raised the plan for scores at the end of the turn for 3 lovely points. Basically, you see that Battenberg there? That's the board at the end of the turn. The Penguin has to control more zones of the table than the Joker. Okay, there's the text if you want to read it. Okay, it's straightforward who's got more models in each part of the board sort of thing. And Smuggled Goods was played once again, so for 3 points, there it is. And yeah, a bit more chance of scoring at this time perhaps. Decided to play it at exactly the same point again, so there it is. Okay, that's that. Who's got Audacity? Good question, Lee, good question. Okay, for the Joker side, again, it's just marked with KG Beast and Punchline for now. For Penguin, though, Mr. Toxic got it, and then a lot of them were concentrated over here on Penguin, his big thug with the axe, and actually Hypnotic this time. Okay, so right, we're going to get into it and start mixing it on turn number 2. Well, wanting to seize the day, Oswald Cobblepot the Penguin himself went first for his crew, and he had a lot to recount. Don't forget, he had Audacity, and he gets his Handyman bonus, so he gets an extra, well, gets 4 actions effectively. He used his special action, first of all. He sacrificed that in order to use Penguin Caller to get this penguin to perform an action, and that penguin's action was to open fire with his minigun on Punchline over here. So, yeah, Punchline was in sight with being within 12 and in range. Had a bit of a choice to make, did Punchline, because the penguin is imprecise, meaning he's at -1 to hit, but nonetheless she did dodge twice. That's those 2 points of 2 points of stun there to reduce 2 damage, and the remaining ones were hitting on 5s, of which 1 did hit. So she takes 2 points of blood damage from the minigun itself. So quite nasty that, considering it's only, well, a penguin who's incredibly cheap doing that. And yeah, but hey, choices needed to be made. Right, returning to the main, Oswald the Penguin himself, he then decided he would use his own tactical action to shoot at KG Beast with his umbrella cannon. And look at that. The firearm and the normal attack die both hit, and of course 3 points of blood apiece on the hulking Russian. Which is gross. Wasn't quite expecting that myself. Defense 5 should really not have been maybe hit twice, but hey, never mind. And yeah, so 6 points of blood damage on KG Beast there. Penguin then moved around the corner and manipulated the smuggled goods to pop them over here in contact with laser sight guys. So yeah, quite a full turn for Ozzy, and yeah, we're going to move to Joker now and see if he can top that. Condiment King up next and first for this turn for Joker. He took one of the 2 Audacity markers that hadn't been distributed yet and decided to move up back up the board into this part here, in a bit of cover between him and most of the Penguin crew, and he put down a suspect with his inspiration based Audacity point because he's close to his boss there, and in doing so allowed them to play Let Them In on the Joke, which we've seen many times. Put down a suspect marker within 4 inches of enemy suspect, and he's a qualified model because he's a he's a henchman. So there you go, 2 points there for the Joker crew. He then leveled his gun. His guns are actually assault and beam, so not only do they not lose dice for moving and shooting, they also enable him to shoot through the cover without any actual bad effect. And he targeted Hypnotic. He used his gunman trait and squeezed off a burst from each of his weapons, ketchup and mustard, and so was able to hit and cause poison 1. Excuse me, get out of the way, cat. Sorry. On Hypnotic, as well as 4 points of blood damage there. The cat is in the background knocking things over. Just ignore the noise. And yes, there's also going to be a -4-inch movement token as well on Hypnotic. I just forgot to put it on the board. Yeah, so pretty horrible burst of fire, and Hypnotic is 1 point of blood damage off dying, which is pretty hardcore for him. So yeah, here we go. Not a bad turn for Condiment King, and back to Penguin. Tanner, one of Penguin's thugs, went next. He didn't have Audacity, he didn't need it for what he was doing. He just decided to open up fire using the spare ammunition here on Punchline, and once again she found herself coming under a huge amount of firepower. She dodged to the maximum this time, knowing just how full well the damage of an assault rifle can do. The remaining die did actually clip her, unfortunately. Took another 3 points of blood damage. She is now hang on, let's have a look. Yeah, she is now 1 point of damage away from dying and 1 point away from going unconscious. That's not good for any model, but especially not for a really powerful sidekick like her who hasn't really done anything yet. So yeah, whoops. Yeah, so that's that done, unfortunately for them. And yes, Penguin played profitable negotiation once again. That's the one where he scores 2 points if the Joker doesn't score a chosen card from his hand. Having looked through the deck, Penguin chose Bite the Dust as the card that Joker would need to score by the end of the turn in order to prevent this card from scoring. So there you go. Okay, that concludes Tanner's go. It's back to Joker's crew now. Well, Punchline really had to be the next model to activate on the Joker crew's side. She's only got 1 point of damage to go, either to unconsciousness or to actual death itself, and she was right next to Mr. Toxic, who could just have meleeed her and walked away, and yeah, it's unlikely she'd have survived that. So she moved as far away from him as possible into base contact with the guy who just shot at her, so he couldn't do it again, and attacked him with her knife, her poison knife. And he used maximum effort, actually. Sorry, bear with me. Whoopsie. That should be there to represent all the effort he put in, because he did, to reduce her dice pool. She only actually hit with the strength die, but it was a critical hit, interestingly, so he is knocked down as well as being poison one and also 1 point of blood damage as well. But yeah, that's the only real move that she had left, so there you go. No cards scored from that, but hopefully saves her for a little bit longer. Okay, right, see what Penguin's up to. Okay, laser sight penguin thug with the activation mark next to him was next. He was knocked down, if you recall, but he was alive and, well, barely alive anyway. He stood up for his movement action, which would normally be it, but he is actually inspired by Penguin's nearby presence, so he used the manipulate action to manipulate the smuggled goods a good 6 inches that away, which is quite cool, and yeah, gets him a little bit further along. Actually, sorry, it was only moved at 5. It should get another 1 inch that way. There we are. It goes there. Okay, sorry about that, my mistake. And yeah, so that's him done. Pretty cool, and that does, however, conclude Penguin's go. So a bit of a short one there, but yeah, that's it. We're going to move back to Joker. The chainsaw clown activated next. He's actually a generic thug, not necessarily a clown, but I paint them up as clowns because I like them as clowns. Anyway, he activated next. He took the remaining point of audacity because he has stuff to do. He has a grapple gun and he used it to cover the distance. He only moves 8 inches, which was just short of Penguin, so he used it to get well in there, okay, and over the top. He popped down the suspect marker for good measure because he was inspired, and as you can see, he turned it into a set of chattering explosive teeth with Bite the Dust. Once again, Joker really wanting to score that one, and it's a really good short fuse as well, just the 1 turn count after this clown to go before it explodes too, so that's good. Yeah, so he then don't forget he got 2 extra attack counters from Joker last turn, being ordered to kill them, and yeah, so he laid about Penguin. Now Penguin put in maximum effort, and that was matched by the clown, both sides going for broke. Penguin not wanting to get hit by a 3 blood chainsaw after all. After all was said and done, don't forget the duck takes off a point. The strength takes off a die due to not the strength die, just takes off a die due to being, you know, having light armor. The Penguin's umbrella is a protective weapon as well, which meant he was blocking on 2s. All said and done meant that just the strength die got through and did 3 points of damage. So there you are. Pretty nasty though, and the duck has taken some damage as well, finally as well. So there you go, and yeah, that's that for that activation. Over to Penguin now, and what's he going to do about that explosive teeth? Okay, Hypnotic activated for a really weird, brutal turn. Okay, first of all, he activated, he was inspired, so he popped down a suspect marker just there, okay? He then used his ability, I think it's some radio wave, telepathic radio wave or something. It's a 5-inch hypnotize effect, which duly worked on Condiment King, so it only works on henchmen. He efforted to make it a bit more likely to work, and it did. So it gets 2 actions, with Condiment King. Condiment King turned around, activated Gunman with a special action, and then fired his remaining ammunition, squirted it all at the KG Beast. Now, it being a beam weapon, it ignored the cover, and yeah, with a good set of dice rolls, managed to hit 4 times out of 6 altogether with the die that was rolled. And that's 4 points of blood damage to KG Beast and a stun and a poison, but KG Beast is dead. I mean, I don't think there's a comic book arc for you. Condiment King slays KG Beast, and that was pretty gross. Yeah. Awesome. There. The Hypnotic then decided to use his movement action, because he did have audacity, don't forget, to move up here. Only 4 inches. Don't forget he had a mind that he was covered in ketchup, so he is minus 4 inch move, so he couldn't get that far away. The teeth at the end of his activation duly then rolled a 6 for their movement, following him 6 inches into the middle of all these henchmen. He was hoping to get away. He was hoping the 6 wouldn't be rolled. It was not to be. It causes a point of blood damage on himself and all the henchmen around here as well. Not doing too much damage to the big grizzly guy, but unfortunately Hypnotic and Laser Sight Penguin Thug are both dead as well as a result of that explosion, which is both models heavily damaged earlier in the fighting, so there you go. All of this, man, it allowed Joker to play Seasoning the Mix as an objective from the hand, because a model with poison was killed. Take your pick. Was it that Cagey Beast? Was it Hypnotic? Either way works. 2 points for Joker, nice. And yeah, 2 more business counters for Penguin, but I think he'd rather have those models. But yeah, Condiment King's out of ammunition, but what a way to go. What a way to use it up, I mean. Well, a relatively simple activation, beg your pardon, for Hobo Clown there. He just moved up. He was just inspired by Joker, only just squeaking in range over here. But so he was able to move along, and without audacity he was able to put down this suspect marker, and it's another stinky fish. So there you go. 2 points potentially in the bag for Joker at the end of the turn. We'll see. Okay, back to Penguin. Imperceptible Man activated next, and he's inspired because he has a radio. He's a henchman, so he can take equipment. He got a radio, so he got his move up from over here into base contact with the event marker for smuggled goods, which is now over there, as you can see, because he manipulated it and it moved a mighty 8 inches because of the Penguin's got 6 business counters, which is the maximum, plus the 2 basic for the card. So yeah, that counter's looking pretty home dry now. Well done, Imperceptible Man. Ace of Spades Clown moved up. He's the last Joker henchman to go this turn, and yeah, he just moved up a little bit through the ruin, through the construction site, opposite of ruins, really, I suppose. And because he was inspired, popped down a suspect marker. The Joker crew knows, I think it's a given that he'd know that the Penguin's deck relies a fairly amount on having more suspects in play than your opponent, so putting extra ones down isn't like a stretch of the imagination, even if it doesn't score. It's how I'm playing the solo at the moment. I just assume both sides have a basic knowledge of their opponent's deck overall, if not their actual hand, of course. But yeah, so putting down extra suspect marker, always useful in these circumstances, so there you go. No audacity you could give him because there's none left, so over to Penguin. Big chonky biker guy activated next. He moved into base contact with this penguin here, this clown here, jeez, and yes, he hit him, did 2 hits altogether, which is 4 points of blood damage, which is enough to kill Chainsaw Clown. Chainsaw Clown, pretty soft and squishy. He does hit very hard, but pretty soft and squishy, unfortunately. He's only defense 2, 4 points of endurance, so 2 hits was well significant enough to kill him. Having done that, he also, from the hand, as a resource, played This Is Mine for 2 resource points. During a friendly model activation, place a suspect in contact with an enemy suspect within 8 inches of this model, then remove that enemy suspect. So this is the enemy suspect, you think? That is a Penguin suspect marker which was just put in contact with it, and this Joker one is now picked up and gonded. So yeah, there you go. So there's that shifted the suspect balance back in favour of Penguin, but we'll see what happens next with Joker's turn. Joker finishing off his turn, finishing off his crew's round of activations. He spent a point of ammunition and opened fire with his pistol at Penguin, demolishing, well, the duck that he was riding on. Just with the cover and the protective of the umbrella, it was down to 1 die, but that die did get through and destroyed the duck. It took off its last 3 points of damage, so there you go. Actually, I think 1 point of that transfers onto Penguin, which I'll do in just a second, but yeah, so there you are. That's all Joker could do, because all the audacity for the turn had been used up, so he is done now. We're just going to go back to the Penguin. He's got a few models left to do. I might consolidate all of them together in one take. I'll see how it goes. Okay, back in just a second. Okay, well, firstly, the Street Demons biker activated. He zoomed in here. He has a radio as well, so he was also inspired, so he popped down a suspect marker behind him, allowing another goods raid to be played. Okay, so 2 more victory points there for Penguin. They have a ascendancy of suspect markers, so they're able to do that. Okay, carrying on. Okay, and to finish off, first off, Mr. Combustible activated. He didn't have audacity. He's just moved into this part of the board with his sole action there, and Mr. Toxic then activated. He had audacity. He popped over here. He activated energy absorption, which turns all the stun damage he'd do with his unarmed combat attacks into blood damage. So yeah, he's looking to turn the screw a little bit more against Joker with the number of models he can kill. And he went after Ace of Spades, and both sides, as you can see, efforted to their maximum limit, and 3 stun markers each, and after all said and done, just the 1 hit got through. It was a pretty lousy round of attacks from Mr. Toxic. on his first ever round of attacks with me, so a bit disappointing there. And so only one hit got through for 2 points of blood damage. He has reinforced gloves, so 2 damage instead of 1 from unarmed combat. So there you go. That concludes the turn's activations. No one scored any more cards as a result of any of this, and otherwise I'd have recounted them to you separately. We're now going to move to the recount phase, tidy up, and I'll report back. Okay, recount phase all finished. Can recount this to you. Right, in terms of poison, the guy over here, the penguin thug with the assault rifle, did not succumb to poison this turn, so no extra damage there, but he is in a bad way, being knocked down next to Punchline. For cards scored, I can advise you from the Joker side, both Let's Dance did score because, well, lots of damage done to their specials this turn. KG Beast for 1 dying, and also It Doesn't Look Fresh does score as well because this stinky fish is still there. For the penguins part, Profitable Negotiation does not score because Bite the Dust, the exploding teeth, did actually come out for Joker and managed to score for them, so this doesn't score for Penguin. Back into the deck it goes. However, Territory Fight does score for them because they have more models in various quarters of the board than Joker does, so they managed to score this particular card for a lovely 3 points. And the Smuggled Goods, yeah, this one, this counter, this event marker over here has moved much closer to the Penguin's deployment zone than the Joker's over the course of the turn. So yeah, that's another 3 points there for Penguin. Penguin's starting to convert this battlefield, this board superiority into, well, some ability to score cards as well. So nasty. Going to move on to turn 3 now, where everything's pretty embroiled. Could still go either way. Having Joker took a hit with the loss of KG Beast, but it's not by any means over. Okay, turn 3 and the action continues as lots of cards got played just now, but let's go through it in turn. Right, first things first, in the take the lead phase, the Penguin lost initiative for the first time to Joker. Joker easily winning it this time, so Joker is opting to go first, very much so. In the second phase, lots of models got Audacity, as Psychopaths was models got Audacity. So lots of cards were played. Sorry, or Psychopaths was played by Joker. Again, lots do damage when opponent puts down suspect markers. Should be easier this time because Penguin hasn't got many suspect markers left to place. For the Penguin's part though, he's got a lot coming his way. Territory Fight once again, controlling parts of the board for 3 points. Smuggled Goods again, third turn in a row, trying to score it this time. Well, you know, for the second time. It's been popped. The Smuggled Goods been popped there in between Penguin and his henchmen. And Secret Equipment Bases, once again for Penguin. Another one that scores at the end of the turn, 2 points. This is the one where they've got to have suspects within 4 inches of scenery. And they're going for this bus shelter and this car over here. Okay, this time hoping to have more suspects than Joker within 4 inches of those, and it's going to be a lot easier for them than it is for Joker to do that because of the number of models on the board. Right, we're going to move now to the activations. Oh, I'm going to tell you who's got Audacity first. Well, on the Joker side, only Punchline had to take Audacity. The rest can be shared out as needed between the rest of the crew, as needs must. Hopefully a bit better than last time. I feel a bit silly about that. Not leaving one for Joker might have been a mistake. On the Penguin side, got one for the Big Thug, one for Penguin himself, one for Mr. Toxic, and finally one for the Biker Thug. Finally, see what he can do with it. Okay, we're going to move now to activations. Punchline took the first activation for Joker, and she didn't want to mess around, so she just dispatched the thug who was here at her feet. He was knocked down. He is now dead because she easily killed him with a load of attacks with her poison knife, and yeah, he's down, dead. Having done that, she was able to play Seasoning the Mix from the hand for 2 points because he had poison from before, so yep, 2 points. It puts 2 markers on the Psychopath's card because of her true Psychopath ability, which is awesome. It ties in with that card she played got played in the second phase. In response, Penguin played Not Buying Don't Touch from his hand. It's played now, it scores at the end. When enemy model removes a friendly suspect or a friendly model as a casualty, just happened, Punchline is marked. That model has friendly suspects within 4 inches at the end of the round. So basically, if Penguin can put a suspect marker within 4 inches of Punchline at the end of the round, they get 2 points. having known that, and also trying to get out of the way as soon as possible, Punchline used her movement action to get away as fast as possible into the depths of the Penguin deployment zone, where he can't place suspect markers anyway. So yeah, also trying to get away from that damned Penguin with its minigun, so it can't kill her, because she is still very, very near to death. So there you go. That concludes Punchline's activation. We're going to go to the Penguin crew now. Once again, Oswald Cobblepot took the first move for his crew's turn, because not this time so much for needing to flex his right to rule, but this time more because he needs to get out of dodge a little bit. First of all, he was over here. If you recall, he did have audacity. He first of all used his manipulate action, his handyman based manipulate action, because he's got handyman, which is a bloody useful rule now, kind of think of it, to move the smuggled goods over here. He's got 6 business counters, so it moved 8 inches still. Nice. And yeah, he then ordered with his mob rule to his henchmen to attack Condiment King in close combat. Both sides efforted to the maximum, and Condiment King took 1 hit for 2 points of blood damage, as you can see there. Having started the process, Penguin then used the remaining point of ammunition in his umbrella cannon to blow Condiment King away with 1 more hit, doing 3 more damage for 5 in total for the turn. Condiment King is out for the count. Well, he's dead for purposes of this game, wounded nastily for the purposes of comics probably. Finally, after that, Penguin moved just to get a bit of cover and barriers in between him and Joker, who's arguably a better fighter than he is. So yeah, he just decided to move back behind this car, and that's it for him. Not a bad go. Okay, I do believe that's that. Also, however, You're Expendable was played by Joker for 1 point. A friendly model with the Trickster trait, well, Condiment King gets that for being in the Joker crew. His removes a casualty becomes KO. 1 victory point there for the Joker, for the funsies. And Joker can score that. Opponents can't score victory points off killing Condiment King because he's so rubbish. However, the Joker can, your own crew can, if they've got it. So I think that's a deliberate one. So there you go. Awesome. Right, moving on back to the Joker crew. Joker, 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 as his men opt to chant. He went next, and he took a point of audacity from the pool, because there's plenty to go around now. And he, first of all, he demotivated Mr. Toxic, which would have stopped him from, I think it's the one that stops him from using any special actions this turn, and -1 to willpower rolls and stuff. Then he pulled out his gun, opened fire, and actually did a surprising 3 hits out of 3, which actually ends Mr. Toxic straight away. So, yeah, whoops. Oh well, never mind. He went down demotivated, but that's a bit of a loss there for Penguin. Sort of evens things up a little bit. Yeah. So after that, Joker then moved out, and yeah, just to use up his action. Now that some of the heavy hitters of Penguin's crew are gone, with the assault rifle disappearing, etc., it's feeling a bit safer to move into the middle again. And yeah, Penguin's out of ammunition, and he's umbrella cannon too. So there you go. Okay, that concludes Joker's activation. We're going to go back to the Penguin crew. The Penguin biker is the next one to go. He had some funky stuff to do. He started over here. He's got always on the move, which is a trait which allows him to attack during the course of his move. So he's one of the few models that gets to do that. Usually got to do all the actions separately. You can do part of your movement, attack, and then carry on. So that's what he did. He moved down to about here, used his pistol to open fire on Hobo Clown, and it was 4 dice all hitting on 2s, and it was very lucky that one of them came up with a 1, because otherwise Hobo Clown would have been dead. Took 3 points of blood, 3 points of stun, leaving him teetering on the very edge, but nonetheless alive, which is glorious for Joker, because Joker's really running short on activations and's got a lot to do with his stuff. So yeah, so that's that done, and yeah, we're getting. So he finished his movement, and then because he's got a radio, he's inspired. So he was able to pop down some the last suspect marker that Penguin's got for the time being. He'd have to start picking up his own suspect markers if Joker's not going to do it for him, but that allowed him to play, This Is Mine as an objective for 2 points. Scores immediately, and as friendly model places a suspect in the enemy deployment zone and more friendly suspects than enemy suspects in the gaming area. Well, that's certainly all been achieved for Penguin there, so another 2 points into the kitty. Okay, right, going to go back to the Joker crew now. back to Hobo Clown, and well, he activated, having just had that near brush with death, and he took another point of audacity, so there's one left, I believe, in the pool for the Joker's crew now, and he moved up and popped down another suspect marker, and he has a large bag of stinky fish this game, because for the third turn in a row he played It Doesn't Look Fresh from the hand for 2 points, and yeah, there it is again. So this is a long line of stinky fish, leaves wherever he's been. Okay, moving back to Penguin. The big biker thug went next, well, the big axe and shield thug went next. He was looking to chop off another part of Joker's crew, as he's been on a bit of a rampage so far this game. Pretty good. And he moved into contact with Ace of Spades and attacked. Ace of Spades had a defensive counter, thankfully, thanks to his paranoid rule from the beginning of the turn. Both sides efforted as much as they could. Not much effort left in the tank, unfortunately, for either of them, as you can see. All in all, just the strength die got through for 2 points of blood damage on Ace of Spades, not enough to kill him. He's not fresh by any means, but he's not dead, so that's enough to get hopefully Joker can score some points with him. So there you go. That concludes Street Demons Thug, Big Thug. This was calling Big Thug again. Right, that concludes his activation. Oops. Right, this would be there. Right, Ace of Spades went next, because he was the only model left on the Joker's side, I believe. He moved up to Penguin, popped down a suspect marker, which enabled him to play. Pick it up. Let them in on the joke. Once again, 2 victory points. He popped down a suspect marker near an enemy model, and yeah, so there you go. That's 2 more points for Joker. He then actually attacked Oswald Cobblepot in close combat, didn't do anything thanks to the Penguin's defensive umbrella stance, and then he did let off the gas though that he has as a special action, poisoning Penguin and Joker as well, but Joker's in good spirit with it. And yeah, so there you go. That concludes Ace of Spades move. We're just going to move to the rest of the Penguin crew's go, and I'll let you know if anything happens. Okay, can just round it up as follows. No cards were played by either side. Imperceptible Man moved up. He had a radio, so he counted as inspired. He didn't need audacity. He moved up to the smuggled goods and manipulated them all the way over here. They still got Penguin's got 6 business counters again, so yeah, moved nice and far. And Mr. Combustible, for his part, just moved. He didn't have audacity, but he just moved so that he could do his part for territory fight for the end of the turn. Speaking of which, it is the end of the turn now, so I'm going to go to the recount phase and report back in just a moment. Right, well then, things to recount. Everyone took off a point of stun, of course, as is normal. Joker managed to shrug off the poison, while Penguin surprisingly succumbed a bit, so he took a point of damage. Oof. Still 5 to go, so, you know, only 1 turn left as well, so plenty to go. In terms of cards scored, It Doesn't Look Fresh does score, again, because this fish is untouched, so 2 points there for Joker. And Psychopaths does score as well, because lots more damage was done this turn, so 3 lovely points for Joker there, still scoring. For the Penguin's part, let's see, Not Buying Don't Touch does not score, because Punchline does not have a suspect nearby. However, that's where the good news for Joker ends, because Smuggled Goods does score. It got all the way over there, which is much closer to Penguin's deployment zone than otherwise. Territory Fight does score, because Penguin has a numerical advantage on the board and he's using it well. And Secret Equipment Bases was never really questioned by Joker. He just didn't have the resources to do so. So 2 points there for Penguin as well. Suspect markers being nearby this bus shelter and many by this car. So there you go. Yeah, that concludes turn number 3. I think we're going to turn number 4 now. Both sides well capable of scoring cards, certainly. We'll see what they do or don't do in this last turn to scrabble those points, okay? Right, see you in just a second for turn 4. Right, going into turn 4 now, and right, let's see who. Surprisingly, Penguin won the initiative, despite the disparity in models. It's not actually that great a difference. The Penguin itself, the little Penguin, doesn't actually count, so towards pass markers or whatever. So yeah, not much of a big bonus for and yeah. It's just the quality of models which has been different in terms of who suffered. Anyway, never mind that rubbish. In terms of cards played, the Joker played Psychopaths once again, so hoping for a nice another new eventful turn. For Penguin's part, it's 2 cards we've seen plenty. Territory Fight once again for the last turn, and Smuggled Goods again. Just keeps creeping into the hand at the right moment, so it's over there once again. Why stop? Why ruin a good plan when it's not failing? Okay, we're going to move move now to activations, but first I'll just show you who's got audacity. Of course, Punchline at the back has got a point of audacity over there for the Penguin's part. Mr. Combustible gets one for the first time, as does Penguin himself, his big axe-wielding thug, and the biker. Okay, right, now to activations. Penguin activated first, of course, for his crew, and he decided, first of all, he'd try and stab Ace of Spades, who's still paranoid, has an extra defense die because he's damaged at the start of the turn. No attacks got through. Penguin had a bit of a lousy roll, and even the sharp on his umbrella didn't come up for him. So yeah, no damage done to Ace of Spades. Penguin moved around and then manipulated with his handyman skill the smuggled goods into base contact with Imperceptible Man over there, and that concludes Oswald's last activation for the game. Okay, over to Joker. Alright, Ace of Spades decided he's going to get him because he's creaking a little bit, and I want to get as many activations out of him as possible. I figured Joker would too. He started in base contact. He took with a Penguin suspect marker. He took a point of audacity to pick it up. In so doing, he was able to play So Long, It's Been a Gas, pick up a suspect marker card, 2 points, and because he did that, the way around he did it, it's Hobo Clown gets Enervating 2 for no reason at all. But 2 points. Right, so having done that from over there, he then moved up and manipulated, because with his inspiration born manipulate action, the smuggled goods 4 inches back that away to try and stop Penguin from having such an easy time scoring it all the time. So yes, just to prove it can be done by both sides. And then that concluded his activation. He could have poisoned this guy, Imperceptible Man, but there's really no point doing it. Both it's seasoning the mixed cards have been scored already, and the last turn I don't think there's any point poisoning anyone, because killing them even in the end phase doesn't do anything. Right, so we're going to stop there and go back to Penguin. I did forget something, of course. Once the Ace of Spades picked up that Penguin suspect marker, Not Buying, Don't Touch was played by Penguin. I forgot, sorry. When a model removes a friendly suspect, there you go, mark it in some way, that model is friendly suspect. To score this, the Penguin suspect marker has been 4 inches of Ace of Spades at the end of the round. So there you go. That's another possible one bubbling away for Penguin. Right, now on to Penguin's actual activation, and it's going with his biker, who first of all, he is inspired, who did have audacity. He's still inspired because he has the radio. So he used his radio inspired. He used his inspired manipulate action to remove the suspect marker he had. He zipped around the corner and then popped another one down. It's still in the Joker's deployment zone, so he played This Is Mine once again for 2 points. Friendly model places a suspect enemy deployment zone, and there's still many more Penguin suspect markers out there. So yep, that's another 2 points for Penguin, and that concludes Penguin Biker's activation. Back to Joker. Joker activated for his last activation of the game, and he moved around here. He could have had a big showdown with Oswald Copperpot and tried to kill him, but wouldn't score points by doing that. No, he put down a suspect marker instead and played Let Them In on the Joke for another 2 victory points there. Nice. Yeah, I mean, it's not about all power plays in Batman. You can't share a joke with friends to score some points, then what can you do? Right, that concludes that activation. Back to Penguin. Imperceptible Man went next, and he did the time-honoured thing of moving up to the smuggled goods and manipulating them. I think it's just close enough to the deployment zone to count, but we'll find out at the end. And yeah, good job, Imperceptible Man. Punchline removed herself from the corner of the board back and knifed the poor Penguin here. He didn't really stand a chance. He is very, very dead. He's only got defense 2, and yeah, horrible thing to do, but there you go. It does, however, put 2 points of kills on Psychopaths though, which is necessary for Joker to keep scoring. Yep, right, so and having done that, I do believe Penguin played Not Buying, Don't Touch once again on Punchline this time. It will score at the end of the turn if she can get if there's a friendly suspect within 4 of her, and I do believe there already is, but yeah, never mind. We'll carry on now, back to Penguin. Big Thug activated for Penguin. He moved down here and popped down a suspect marker. Once again, it's in the Joker's deployment zone. So This Is Mine came out of the hand again for 2 victory points. Oof. Yep, there you go. And there's still more Penguin suspects in the in the gaming area than there are Joker ones, so definitely counts. Okay, easy peasy. Oof. Yes, this guy's had a bit of a good game, I have to say. He's been quite blessed. And Hobo Clown finishing the game off for Joker, unfortunately. Had nothing he could do, really. No cards in the hand that could possibly have scored, not even resources to play to run it out and everything. So yeah, he was too far away from sewer markers to move across the board. He'd been putting down his fish quite happily, just as he was told, but ended up too far away from everyone to do anything. He moved up, he took an Audacity marker because there was one left, and he popped down a Suspect marker, but that's it. He can do nothing more. Going to play out the rest of the turn with Penguin. Okay, there was just Mr. Combustible left, and he activated. First of all, I'll just show you he played Profitable Negotiation from the hand for 2 victory points. It'll score at the end of the turn. It's the one where you look at the opponent's hand. He picked out Sauce and Pickles, Condiment King's special card, which is simply not going to score, so that one probably will, almost certainly will, for Penguin, but we'll get to that later. He then took his turn proper, and he actually attacked Punchline in close combat. He had to, because I just realised that territory fight will not score for Penguin unless something is done, and this is what he can do. He moved in, he efforted to the maximum, so did she. She can only put 2 in though due to damage she'd taken earlier in the game. As it was, only his strength die came up for him in the end, but it was sufficient to do 2 points of blood, surprisingly, with his cane, and that is enough to kill, well, for the purpose of the game, kill Punchline. Oof! Well done, Mr. Combustible. Wow! What a hoot. Okay, and that's him done, and that is, I believe, the game done. I don't think, no, neither side managed to score anything as a result of that kill. Well, not instantly anyway. We're going to move now to the recount phase of the last turn. Count up who's done what, and then I'll be back with you. Right, just going through the scores, really. There's no point doing poison, etc., really, not to finish off. Right, for the Joker, Psychopath does score once again for 3 victory points. Plenty more killing than Penguin put down Suspect markers this time. Well, just about anyway. There was some killing. Helped not insignificantly by Mr. Combustible there. But yeah, 3 points for Joker. For the Penguin, though, he actually played Not Buying, Don't Touch twice in different places. One on Ace of Spades and one on... one over there, but yes, Ace of Spades does have a Suspect marker within 4, unfortunately, so yeah, one of those does score. The one on Punchline doesn't because she's dead, but never mind. So the 2 points there for Penguin, lovely. The rest of them all score as well, which includes Smuggled Goods, which was just over the line in terms of where it needed to be. Territory Fight, as I explained just now. Punchline dying did the trick for Penguin. He controls this quarter and the Joker's quarter, funnily enough. This one being controlled by Joker, and this one being a draw. So I believe that is a score. Yeah, so let's see. And Profitable Negotiation does score for Penguin as well, because didn't manage to score that card in the 0 activations they had left for the game. So there you go. That concludes the game. Okay, whew, that was a bit of a big one. Right, I'm going to go now, get the score piles, and we'll see who scored the most. Right, so both sides have almost exhausted their score decks. So it's going to be another close one, I think. Right, okay, here we go. Penguin's got maybe a couple more out to go than Joker has. Let's see. Got Penguin in my hand as it seems first, so let's, here we go. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 11, 14, 16, 18, 21, 24, 26, 28, 30, 33, 35, 38. Mighty 38 score. Whew, that's a good one. Okay, yeah, well, there we go. 38 score. Jeez, I'm proud of that. 2 for Joker. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, 21, 24, 26, 28, 30, 33. 33 plays 38, I think. Yes. So, victory there for Penguin. Interesting. Penguin got an early good hit on a very surprising hit on on KG Beast, which also emptied the last tanks of Condiment King, which was a good round for him, I think. Yeah, that was a really good fun game to play. I hope it didn't run on too long. Lots of models on this one, so I'm hoping that I'm trying to keep it as brief as possible in terms of explanations and stuff. Hopefully that will come across in that when I upload it, and it won't be too onerously long for you, everyone. That was a great fun game though. I think I got the best. I think I did pretty well, demonstrating what each crew can do and how they play and their models and stuff. I don't think anyone really did terribly poorly. I mean, some models may not have got a fair shake considering their points costs and their newness, for example, but you know, things happen in this game. It's more that they got hit by things which were hard than they just failed on their own right. So there you go. What would I have done? I mean, generally I can see how a penguin, actual animal penguin, heavy penguin list could do really well in terms of just having lots of models activating around the board and counting for territory fight and all sorts of things for penguin. Yeah, gross. I'm actually much more of a fan of, you know, humans rather than having swarms on the board. I just don't think it's handy to it's a bit, just makes the game slow down a lot, bogged down, but hey, never mind that. For Joker's part, it was a bit of an unusual list for him. I don't usually take expensive free agents with them, to be honest. It did affect his model count in a game where it would have probably helped to have more models against Penguin, but you know, I wanted to try out KG Beast, and you know, on another day KG Beast could really have dominated against the soft squishy Penguin people. So yeah, just got unfortunate there that he got doused in ketchup and mayo. Oh well, and mustard, even not mayo. Mayo would have been fine, but mustard was the thing. Another game would have been different draw from the hands. I think I did pretty well altogether with playing the cards throughout both sides' turns. I don't think I missed out on any opportunities to score with either of them. But yeah, I think lots to recount on that one. I'm looking forward to uploading this, and I hope to hear what you have to say. If I did anything stupidly wrong, let me know. If I did anything stupidly right, yeah, cool, point that out to everyone who's saying I'm stupidly wrong. And I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I did. I thank you for continuing to watch, those of you who do, and I hope to see you again in the future for more games. I've got some more scenery coming. That's going to be good fun to play on, and I'll see you next time, you guys. Take care and goodbye.